So to get away from the videos I've been doing about abuse and bullying, I fancy doing some different videos now, because I don't want to be focusing on that now. I've done the videos that I wanted to do, and it's not that I'm ignoring it and sweeping it on the carpet. I just I need for myself to do different things, because I don't want to give those who abuse and bully any more attention than what they need. So I wanted to start doing a series of videos about the truth about growing up, because being somebody that developed early in terms of puberty, and I've seen that there's not many videos where people are talking about this, and I know it's probably because it is a very personal subject, but I want to talk about it because I found my teenage years often kind of like, and this video is going to be about being a rebellion teen, because as soon as I became a teenager, I stopped listening to like pop music. I grew out of the boy band and the girl band, and then I sort of got into rock music. I became a massive football fan, and that kind of took over for a long time, and I changed my mind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to work in football, and when I fall in love with something, I go in with both feet. I was like, as soon as I left school, I want to work at a football club. And so I got the Yellow Pages. This is before the internet, and I looked through it and found the addresses of all the football clubs in London, and wrote to every single one to see if I could get work in a football club. And I did at the football club. I became a steward, and I did interview at Chelsea as well. But in growing up, I found my teens to be kind of where I became very self-aware of my body, of new feelings, because your hormones, when hormones hit you, you know about it, and there's no way of getting away from hormones. They are there, and they are kind of a chemical in the mind, and that spreads through the body, and then you start becoming aware of yourself, like you wasn't expecting being a kid. I didn't want to develop early, but I did, and it can be around the age of around about 10 years old, where you start getting your period and you start developing boobs. And I did not like having breasts, can I tell you. If I could have taken them off and could give them to somebody else, I would have done, because I was not ready to have a period, and I was not ready to have a pair of boobs. I wanted to still be a kid for a little bit longer, and when it came to bar shopping, it was like I wanted the world to swallow me up and come back where I didn't need to worry about bars anymore and could be a kid a bit more. And so it does hit you. It's like, whoa, okay, things happen here, and I feel like I'm changing, and I don't want to, And Mother Nature has a very Mother Nature is a not thing to be underestimated, because when she arrives, it can be like, okay, something's going on here, and I'm not ready. And that's how I felt, and that's how you can feel, because it is. You can't underestimate puberty. Your body is transferring into a woman or a man, and then you start being more aware of your size, your weight. You start to become aware of relationships, because I find that relationships can form more as you get older. You get more. You have friends that kind of. You have friends that stick around. There are friends that are in that your life for 5 minutes, and you have friends that you've known for a short time, but they're the ones that often are the ones that you hang around and stay around. Now I've had friends that from childhood that I'm still friends with today, and friendships for me as a kid and as a teenager was very important to me, because I don't think I would have gotten through those times if I didn't have friends. But it did take me a while to get out of my shell. I was a very shy child in terms of being able to talk to another child and ask to join in with their games. But I found my confidence through dancing, and that was something that I stuck with. And I think I would always say for kids to always have a hobby, because hobbies are really good for taking your mind off of school. For example, if you don't enjoy it, because I hated school, but I loved dancing and I loved going to dancing school. It was something it was my thing, and I loved to go to dancing. I never once ever, sometimes I got a bit shy. I was shy my first time I went to Jimmy Riley's dancing school. I also got into it. I absolutely loved it, and I loved it. I was going to my dancing class every Saturday in the morning, and I loved it. I loved having something to look forward to, and it became my world for a long time, and I loved dancing. I never felt that I couldn't do it. I got nervous in one exam, but the other times I didn't. It was like I found my genre and my my niche, I love performing, and I've done that throughout my life. And even when it came to school plays, I remember doing a school play and assemblies where we did a scene from Oliver Twist, and I was Oliver Twist, and I had to just say the words, please sir, please you can have some more. And then Kimberly thought, oh great, because she was the who was she in it? She was the the teacher who grabbed hold of my ear and sent me packing, basically, and she loved it because it meant that, and she did grab my ear and it bloody hurt. So poor old Oliver Twist, really felt the pain, but I remember thinking when I did that, when I used to be on stage, that why am I not nervous? Normally I should be nervous. I'm a nervous person, but I'm not nervous. Why am I nervous? And I would surprise myself. But when it came to when I did a reading, when I was form counsellor at my secondary school, because I used to have a day in the week, I think it was Fridays, where kids could go to chapel if they wanted to, and I had to read, and I was shaking like a leaf, and I was nervous, but I got through it. Yet when it came to drama, acting, singing, dancing, I was fine. But when it came to sort of reading something out, I was absolutely petrified, And when I used to have to, sing in church, because I was part of the choir, the school choir, it never was like, oh God, I can't do that. It was just something that was like breathing air. It just came naturally to me, and I never felt self-conscious or anything. And that's the thing I would say is, as a teenager, or a childhood teenager, is the truth about growing up is that it is good to have a hobby, because it kind of it grounds you, and it gives you a sense of purpose. It makes you want to get up in the morning. You don't have to. It's your own kind of. It's good to have your own thing, and I've always been like that. Even when I started going to rugby, I loved it, and again, I fell in love with it, and I, at one point, couldn't think about anything else. I was going to dancing school, I was going to rugby, and that I found the things that made me look forward to being alive, look forward to getting up out of bed. And that's one thing that I would say about, the truth about growing up is that without a hobby, I think that I don't know what I would have done, to be honest, because it really was what kept me going. And music has been my life, since I can remember. Music has always been the one thing that I always listen to. There's been times where I haven't listened to music. I did go for a spell where for about 2-3 months and longer, I wouldn't listen to a song, and then I'd be like, no, I need to listen to a song, But all through my life, music has played a huge part for me, and it's kind of how you can always tell how I feel when I play a certain song, And music has been the biggest thing, as well as sport, because I was very good at sports, very good at rounders, still ball, tennis. I never again ever doubted myself as in sport. I did in terms of football when I joined I went to a film ladies session, and for some reason I couldn't get myself there. I was right once I was there, but I just could not find the confidence to go again. And I can't explain it, but as you grow up, you kind of become more aware of your anxiety, which is not something that you're born with. It's something that develops over time through being bullied, and I was bullied. And through that growing up, the one thing that I would say is expect it to be a confusing time, because it is, because you're basically going from you're developing into a woman, and obviously your body is adapting to if you have sexual relationships and start performing real proper in love relationships. Now I was never a girl who had loads of boyfriends, to be honest. I wasn't interested, to be honest, for a while. I wasn't in the rush to have any kind of sort of romantic relationship. I just wanted to enjoy myself, and that's what I did, really. And that's why I love dancing. And it was dancing that kept me focused and performing at school. I was in a school play called Macbeth, and what's it called? The play that shall not be named, because a lot of people believe that if by saying Macbeth it gave you bad luck. Well, come and get me, But I play Satan, and I loved it. I didn't love my costume, by the way. I was very let down by that, because I had to wear a potato sack on my waist as a pinny, a bit like, oh. Yeah, that's not what I was expecting, but anyway, it was good to take part in, and I did drama at school, and I really enjoyed it. And the one regret that I have, that I did the wrong course after school, because I was deciding between performing arts and doing the leisure and tourism GNVQ, and I in the end got a bit scared, because it meant that I had to go to another college to do performing arts, and I kind of went with like a lot of teenagers that have to decide what they're going to do after school, to stick with my friends. So I did a GNVQ in tourism, and it was okay, and I did get some, I did a community sports leader award, which is a really good thing to do. I don't know if it exists now, but that was a really good thing to do, and it's basically teaching kids different sports, and it was alright, but you know, the kids were getting bored, and I actually, looking back, no, I should have done performing arts, because that was more my genre than the GNVQ. But then what I did is that when I started working, I then started to do part-time courses in singing and drama, and then I went on to work for a holiday camp where I was dancing and apparently doing stand-up most nights, as well as working in restaurants, because my aim of going there was to become a red coat, because that had been my dream since a kid. I loved holiday camps, and I'm glad I did that. I just wish I had stayed down there in some ways, but then my son wouldn't have come along, so you know. But I would like to do that again, work at another holiday camp. The one holiday camp that I really would like to work at is Clacton, so I am trying to, but because of COVID, obviously a lot of, I mean, I don't know how many of that, if they have had staff at holiday camps, I wonder how they've been paid, because obviously with COVID and social distancing, obviously you can't really run a holiday camp because a lot of holiday camp is a very social, interactive environment, you know. So you know, it's like, are many holiday camps going to be around now because of COVID? So, but if there is, I would like to work at another holiday camp. That is something I really would like to do. So I really enjoyed it, and it was really something that I really glad I did. And I would love to do it again, you know. And I would love to take my son to a holiday camp. I think he'd love it as well. I think he'd love. I did take to a Haven with my mum, and he enjoyed it. And he loves the amusements like I did. But the entertainment was in like a hall, but it was very small, and it was packed, and we couldn't get anywhere to sit, so we didn't go in there in the end. But I would definitely like to work at another holiday camp. I would like to work in the one where I went as a kid in Clacton. That's my ambition, you know, even if I do it for a couple of months, you know. But that is hopefully being set up for me. It's just obviously with lockdown and COVID, no one knows really what's going to be happening. Only Boris knows, and even he doesn't know. He needs a comb, that's for sure, because he doesn't brush his hair. That's for certain. But anyway, it's what I wanted to talk about. You know, I will do some more of these videos about truth about growing up, and you know, just if you know, just expect hormones, expect confusion as you're growing up, because you get a lot more emotional, I find, a lot more, and more aware of your body image, you know. And that's where it can, especially if you've been subject to bullying, and obviously teenagers can get bullied in schools, and that's one thing that people are trying to work at. But in terms of development, you learn as you, in teenage years. I find that you get to your point when you're 16 where you think you know the world by then, but actually you don't, you know. I think it's when you're in your 20s when you become more aware of the world, from my point of view. So you become a lot more aware of your emotions as a teenager, and you kind of form more close relationships, and it's the friendships that I've had that's what, you know, helped keep me going and helped me through my teenage years. And I would definitely say, you know, have a hobby, because that really gives you a sense of purpose, you know, when you're going for your teens, because it can be like, you know, I'm not ready for that, and oh my god, I didn't expect to feel like that, you know. That's how it can be. So I'm going to end it here. I'm rambling on now. Anyway, see you soon, and take care.